It had been raining for 3 straight days in Vermont, and the old Whitmore estate stood like a ghost in the mist. Claire Whitmore, now 29, sat alone in the study, a glass of whiskey warming her hands, firelight dancing in her eyes. Her gaze lingered on the portrait above the mantle, her mother, Evelyn Whitmore, radiant, eternal. 10 years ago, Evelyn had died. The police called it an accident. She slipped from a bridge during a storm. Claire had never believed that lie. That night, at just 19, Claire had been hiding by the hallway when she heard her father Douglas Whitmore mutter something to his brother Stephen, something that changed everything. She found out. She was going to ruin us. It's done now. No one will ask questions. Claire didn't sleep that night. The next morning, her mother's body was found downstream. The official story? Misstep in the rain. The truth? Claire knew better. But instead of running to the police, Claire ran away, to survive, to prepare, and one day, to come back. She disappeared from Vermont and the Whitmore name, moved to New York, changed her last name to Reed, and buried herself in law school. She didn't party, didn't date. She read criminal cases, studied finance fraud, and kept one journal her entire life, titled Bloodline Bound, a record of everything they did, and what she would do in return. Over the years, she built a quiet reputation as a legal researcher for investigative journalists. She learned how to expose people the right way, not with anger, but with evidence. Then came the call. Stephen Whitmore was dead. And his will required every living family member to be present, including Claire. It's time. She booked a one-way ticket home. The Whitmore mansion hadn't changed, still pristine, still cold, but Claire wasn't a girl anymore. At the door stood her half-sister, Jessica Whitmore, 17, the daughter of Douglas and his second wife. Jessica's face lit up with curiosity. "Claire, you're real?" Claire gave a restrained smile. "More real than you know." Douglas welcomed her with a hug she didn't return. He looked older, his face harder, but his smile still fake. "It's good to have my daughter back," he said. Claire whispered, "We'll see about that." At night, Claire searched the estate. The library held most of the answers. Hidden behind a false wall panel in a dusty bookshelf, she found a small lockbox, her mother's diary. Evelyn had written everything. "Douglas and Stephen are hiding money, offshore accounts, shell charities. I've found papers. I confronted him. He told me to leave it. If I go missing, it wasn't an accident. Claire deserves the truth." Claire's hands trembled. Her mother had tried to protect her, and paid the price. Jessica was naive, sweet, and deeply attached to the father Claire knew was a monster. Claire carefully began sowing doubt. "Did your mom ever talk about my mom? Have you seen any pictures of Evelyn's last year alive? Ever wonder why she's not mentioned in this house?" Jessica's faith cracked slowly. Claire showed her Evelyn's diary. They sat in silence for a long time. Jessica whispered, "He wouldn't hurt someone. He couldn't." Claire replied, "He could. He did, and we're going to prove it." Claire contacted Alan Rowe, a journalist her mother once trusted. She gave him scanned copies of financial records from fake foundations, offshore banking routes, Evelyn's diary, and one thing Claire had found buried in an attic box, a backup hard drive from an old surveillance system. It showed Douglas and Evelyn by the bridge the night she died, fighting. And the moment Evelyn fell, or was pushed. Claire didn't watch the whole clip. She didn't need to. Alan did. And 2 weeks later, headlines exploded. Whitmore Foundation under federal investigation. New evidence may reopen 10-year-old accidental death. Douglas denied everything. "This is defamation," he told the press. "My daughter has been unstable since childhood." But inside the house, his grip was slipping. Jessica refused to eat with him. Servants whispered. Lawyers stopped returning calls. Claire remained quiet, composed. She stayed in the room that once belonged to her mother, now restored with candles and old music. Each night, she wrote. Each page began, "Dear Mom." Claire invited Douglas for dinner. A single candle lit the table. Roast duck, red wine, silence. Douglas tried a smile. "You always did like dramatic meals." Claire didn't smile back. "Tell me something, Dad. Do you remember her screams?" His glass paused midair. "What?" Evelyn, the woman you pushed off a bridge. Do you remember what she said before she fell? Douglas stood, his eyes wild. I did what I had to. Claire's voice cut in. No, you did what cowards do. You buried the woman who trusted you, and tried to bury me too. That's when headlights filled the driveway. FBI, state police, media vans. It was all timed to perfection. Douglas froze. Claire whispered, they're not just here for fraud. They have the footage. They have the diary. They have the witness, me. Douglas Whitmore was arrested on charges of financial fraud, conspiracy, and suspicion in the death of Evelyn Whitmore. As he was led away in cuffs, reporters swarmed. Jessica stood on the porch, crying. Claire stood beside her, holding her hand. One reporter shouted, Claire, how long have you been planning this? She turned, calm. 10 years, 1 year for every lie. Douglas was convicted of multiple financial crimes and sentenced to federal prison. The homicide investigation was still ongoing. The Whitmore estate was auctioned. Jessica moved in with relatives in Maine and started college. She wrote to Claire every month. And Claire? She published a book. Bloodline Bound, A Daughter's Fight for Truth, by C.L. Reed. It became a national bestseller. In a live interview, the host asked, Claire, how did you keep this secret for 10 years? Didn't you ever want to just scream? Claire smiled. No, screaming doesn't win wars. Silence, patience, and timing do. Revenge isn't rage. It's justice, delayed but precise. She looked into the camera. No tears, no fear. Just peace.